Okay, I am Ashley Arnold, and today we will be joined by Dean Stein. And we're going to just give you all a few minutes. I see that people are still logging in, but we appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and hear from Dean Stein. I'm going to pull his presentation up and then let him get started. Can you see that on your end, Dean Stein?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. Perfect. Just want to make sure it's not in the screen. Okay, we are all set.
Very good. Well, greetings from my office here at Georgia Tech. I'm honored that so many of you have joined me here today. I want to talk a little bit about where we are in the semester and how things have been going. I'm going to go with an assumption that most of you are parents and family members of first year. Typically, more first year families log on to this, but it's fine if you're second, third, fourth, or fifth, because much of what I'm going to share, I think, is applicable to any class year and stuff. So if you can go to the next slide. What I always like to do when I start is to just kind of give you a sense of where we are, where your students are at this point, okay, so that you have a better understanding. So we're in week 6. It's amazing to believe that we're already in week 6 of this semester. It's gone by quite fast. Week 6 is a pivotal week because it is a very, very heavy test week. Week 5 and week 6 are both very heavy test weeks. And why is that the case? It's the case because progress report grades are due on October 2nd. And so faculty have to have some measure of how your student is performing in their class in order to submit a progress report grade. Those progress report grades will be either an S for satisfactory or a U for unsatisfactory. The students can log on next week and check their progress report grades. They should do that. Please remind them to do that. You will not be able to log on and see them. This is very different than high school, where you were able to log in and see grades. That's not true as they move into college. So they will be able to see it. That grade of you, if they have any, could be a little shocking. Certainly one that they're not used to. But let me reassure you that sometimes that grade is based on one exam. So if the student fell short of the achieving as much as they wanted to in that first grade, that first test, it could be that that resulted in a U. And that just means that based on the total number of grades that have come in, the student has fallen below the mean into a space that there's some concern. Okay, so it's not predictive of where the student might end up at the end. It's just in terms of that first report. Okay. However, what's very, very important once these first exams pass and they get progress report grades, they have to begin to think about the adjustments they need to make. Now, this would be true at any class year that they're in. What adjustments do I need to make? Okay, what do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? How do I better prepare for my exams? How do I better study? They can go and get help with an academic coach in the Center for Academic Success. They can go and get tutoring help. They can go to their TAs. They can go to their faculty office hours and have conversations They can go to plus sessions that are offered in some of the key courses like physics and chemistry and linear algebra and stuff. There are plenty of places that they can go to kind of better prepare themselves for the exams that will happen post the first round. Okay, so week 6, very pivotal. We will have one more week of classes, and then we move to fall break. So by a week from Friday, they will go on fall break, and there are no classes on Monday and Tuesday, October 9th and 10th. It is mid-semester at that point, and everyone gets a pause. It's one of the nice things about fall semester, okay? I can tell you that many students do leave the campus. They either go home, they travel, they go to the beach, wherever they wanted to go, but not many stay. Now, obviously, international students may still be here. The services are open, the buildings are open. It's just that there are no classes, okay? As we move through, you can see October, it's a very busy month for us at the Institute. We have family weekend, the weekend of October 20th. We have homecoming weekend, the weekend of October 26th. And then key, it's October 28th is the withdrawal deadline. So this is the last time that a student can withdraw on his or her own without penalty. Post that withdrawal deadline, they then have to do it through a petition, which then goes in front of a faculty committee for approval. So if there is a need to withdraw, the student should really be thinking and considering that by October 28th. There is a firm deadline with a firm time associated on the 28th, and they can check that online. And they should be talking this through, okay, with you and with their faculty and their academic advisor. Okay, they're certainly welcome to come into the dean's office, and we can also have a conversation, right? And then obviously we have our Thanksgiving holiday break, November 22nd to the 24th. But I can tell you that when we get back from fall break, it is a fast kind of sprint to the end of the semester. Okay, those last weeks go by pretty quickly, and they're pretty intense as we build and go further into this term as far as exams and stuff. So what's happening at this point? What's beginning to happen right now at this point is that students are getting a clearer sense of how they're performing, of how things are going, of how they're feeling, okay? Whether they think that they are managing well, whether they think that they are performing at the level they want to. They're adjusting to seeing grades that maybe they've never seen before. As I always say in orientation, sometimes that could be a B if they're a straight A student in the past and stuff. And so it's a whole period of kind of like getting clarity on just how this experience is going for me, and is this what I thought it was going to be? I can tell you that most students are adjusting okay. Right, and I am teaching GT 1000 this semester, and I check in every week with my students to see how they are doing. And, when we talk about how they performed on exams and, what adjustments they've made. What I thought would be helpful is to give you some sense of some of what the students are saying on a week 6 assessment that I have them do. Okay, so this student says, this is now kind of my reaction to week 6. I've made a change to my academic mindset. I am less worried about having the perfect grades when it's compared to previous academics. This is a very challenging school, so I feel so long as I have a good grade, that's good enough. Okay? Interesting, right? I've made a change to my academic mindset. That's an adjustment that the student has made. Now, it doesn't mean that the student is just settling. It's just that the student is understanding that sometimes to hold on and kind of maintain the thought of straight A's all the time may not be realistic, okay? And for some students, it is. I mean, some students do end their first semester and first year and continue on with a straight 4.0. But in that case, the student is beginning to see a need to kind of rethink things. This student says, I feel happy with the way I've been balancing my schoolwork and social life. While I know my course load can only get more difficult from here, I'm happy with how it's gone so far. Okay, I would say this is a student who's kind of adjusting fine. They're adjusting okay. And they have a realistic sense of the fact that how the semester might go in the future. Okay. In this one, the student says, I think it went pretty well. I performed below expectations on my exams, but nothing unrecoverable. Okay, very important piece. Okay, I didn't do quite as well, but I still think I can manage and recover from these first round of exams. I have found my niche when it comes to extracurriculars, so this is encouraging. I haven't been doing super well in the friends department, but it's not like it will kill me, so I'll deal with it. I've never been particularly good at meeting friends quickly, so I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. All right. Again, I'm pleased with the way the student is able to think this through and kind of come to some kind of conclusions on some things. He realizes that, meeting others is not a strength of his. And so he's, a little bit, he's not exactly where he wants to be, but he's hopeful that eventually he can do it. But he has made his way into extracurricular activities. And I think he has a positive frame of mind as far as thinking about exams and stuff. Okay. This student said, I started to learn what hard work really means. I realized that I have to manage my time better than I did in high school. I also tried to explore as many opportunities as I could and get involved in student-led organizations. Again, a good example of adjustments. What adjustments do I need to make? Okay, I have to manage my time better. 6 weeks in, students should have a better sense of how they're managing time and where their time is going. I think one of the things that students sometimes realize is that they lose time, it evaporates. And what do I mean by that? Well, I have a 3-hour time block on a Wednesday in the afternoon. And I'm just realizing, what have I done with those 3 hours? How am I spending that time? So rather than just going home and being in a room and, playing games, video games, maybe I should go to the library. Maybe I should find a quiet space on campus and, focus on my work in that 3-hour period. See, these are the kinds of things that students begin to understand and change. Okay. Finally, I've had the most wonderful time. I've met lovely people, discovered the community is beautiful and welcoming, and explored vast and expansive resources here at Tech. It's been quite a transition, but I feel I've enjoyed, and I look forward to the rest of my time here. Okay. Again, just kind of quick examples of what I want you to see in terms of how students think about this kind of time as we're into the 6-week time frame that we're here. Next slide, please. So I do want to let you know that, many students begin to think about, do I want to study abroad, particularly in that first and second year? Do I want to study abroad? And, here's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for them to learn in one concentrated way all of the opportunities that exist here at Georgia Tech. This is both for study abroad and for exchange programs and for global internship and research opportunities and others. So it's October 3rd, 10 to 2, and it's right in the exhibition hall. And I will promote this in my class this week. And again, I would say that you should remind your student that this is something that they may want to stop by and see. It's a very kind of informal thing. You walk in, you can walk around, and you can meet a whole bunch of people and talk about the different programs and stuff. Okay. Next slide. So, it's also the time of the semester when students realize, wow, I'm pretty stressed, or I could benefit from, probably talking to someone. Now, what I'll say is that not every student needs therapy, okay? We don't want to kind of say that, because you're stressed, you need to see a therapist, okay? I think the difference for me is that many students at this point in the semester may be stressed in relation to the exams that they just took and other kinds of things going on, right? There are a much smaller percentage of students who are distressed, and there's a difference, okay? Distressed means that my stress is interrupting my ability to kind of do what I need to do, to sleep, to focus, to really kind of make connections to others and to take care of myself. And so, those students probably would benefit from seeing someone and having an assessment done, right? But we do offer a number of different resources to students. And we have this continuing partnership with the University System of Georgia and Christie Campus Health, where we're offering students self-online portals that there's a wellness hub that they can connect into. Headspace, which is an app that many students actually use. Togetherall, which allows them to come into communities with other students and talk to them about how they're feeling and what they're thinking and stuff. So we're going to be promoting this, and we have been promoting it in terms of really students taking advantage of these things. We also have 5 free virtual counseling sessions through Christie Campus Health that students can take advantage of. So if they don't want to go to the counseling center and they'd rather just go off and do this on their own, they can have these 5 free virtual counseling sessions. And might be that they can start with those and then come over to the counseling center. Or if they've been going to the counseling center and they've kind of finished with that, they can come over and do the 5 free sessions here through Christie Campus Health. So it's a kind of another way that students can get some support around, stress and other kinds of issues that are affecting their mental health. We also offer all kinds of workshops through our Wellness Empowerment Center, through the Counseling Center, through Residence Life and Housing. Right? And the other thing I want to say is that currently the Center for Mental Health is actually running about 14 different groups this semester that students can choose to be involved in if they want to be in a group experience. Next slide, please. So these are reminders of student support, the Center for Mental Health Care and Resources. It is the primary resource for mental health support. And they will do an assessment with the student. They will figure out what are the issues. As I said, not every student sometimes needs to be in therapy, but through that kind of presentation as an assessment, it might be that a referral is made over to the Center for Academic Support because they feel like that's really what is driving the stress of the student. And if they would get some relief around understanding the resources that exist as far as tutoring and other resources, that might help in terms of reducing some of that stress. The dean's office, my office, is always a kind of place that students come in. We meet with students on a regular basis. I've met with a number of students this week to talk about how they're doing and what's going on. Last academic year, we met with over 1,000 students that come through our doors and want to just sit down and talk about things. We do make referrals. We make referrals to the Center for Mental Health Care. We make referrals to back to an advisor. We make referrals over to the Center for Academic Success, a number of different areas, depending on what's going on with the student. Next slide, please. And so, always important to remember the academic support, all right? What I say in orientation, I'm going to say it again. Please, please, please do not believe when a student says, there's nobody here to help me, okay? I just want you to really challenge that, because I can tell you there are so many people here that can assist a student in so many different ways, all right? On the academic side, we have a great academic coaching program, okay? So it's sitting down with someone, reviewing how things are going, kind of making a plan on how to begin to make some behavioral changes, and also, getting kind of referrals over to how to learn how to study. One of the most interesting things for Georgia Tech is that many of our students don't know how to study, because there's students that really never had to truly learn how to study in high school. They were just so bright and so capable that they really didn't study in the ways that other students may have. And so our students sometimes say, I never really knew how to study. And so when they come to Tech and come to college, that's something that they have to learn how to do. We also have exploratory advising. I've already had 2 students in my class who've said, I think I want to change my major. Not unusual, kind of pretty, actually pretty, I think, normal that a student at this point would begin to think, am I really interested in that? Do I want to try something else? So it's great that they can meet with one of the exploratory advising staff, sit down, talk about things, learn how to learn about a new major, and see what's required of that major, see what the career opportunities are in that major. Okay, that's it. There's on-demand online workshops available through advising on time management and other areas. There's tutoring available both in person and online through the tutoring website. And then there's peer-led undergraduate study plus sessions. So they can meet with other upperclassmen who have excelled in the class that they're actually serving as a peer plus leader, and work with that student. And then OMED has, our educational services area, also offers tutoring, okay? The best way to look at all of this and figure out what's available on campus, both for you and for them, is through the campus-wide academic success resource website, and that's the link to it. If you were to link onto that, it will give you all kinds of information as to the academic support services that exist. Okay. Next slide, please. So I've come to the, a question that someone asked is, are these resources free? Yes, they are. They're free. They're all free. They're all available, and students should take advantage of it. Okay. So what I'm going to say is that, again, I sat with a student just this week who said to me, I don't know if I should be here anymore, right? And I said, well, say more about that. Well, I'm beginning to wonder if Georgia Tech is really the right place for me, okay? Not an unusual kind of statement for a student to make, okay? But what we want to do is we really want to make sure that the student is not just kind of having a reaction to something that is not going perfectly or the way that they really thought it would play out, okay? So what I always say to students is that, at this point, that's fine. It's fine to just wonder about that, but I would not suggest acting on that yet, okay? It's a little bit too soon. You've got to give it more time, okay? You're still in the major adjustment period in terms of making your way to Tech, to college, all right? Or making your way, if you're an upperclassman, into your major and understanding it more thoroughly than you did in your first 2 years at Georgia Tech. So there's lots of different things that students start thinking, and I don't discourage them, right? Sometimes I'll say to a student, if you're really thinking that you want to transfer, then do a little bit of work. Figure out where else you might go. Figure out where you can, what's the deadline to apply. And I think the process alone sometimes helps to clarify do I really want to do this? And, or am I, by the time I get through this, feeling like I'm doing better? Okay. We have a question here. So if you catch students that they are stressed, then please catch them and send them mental health coaching. Some students may not realize. Yeah, it is true. I think that some students don't realize that they are stressed. They only know what they feel, but they can't label it. Okay, and then the other greatest fear for students is that they associate seeing a counselor, getting some support and help as meaning I'm crazy. Okay, and and I think I always reassuring students that it does not translate that way. That there are points in time in life that we all could benefit from talking to someone, and that and you should do that as a way of giving yourself some grace and a break and kind of some support. And so we encourage faculty. I'm always talking to faculty. I'm always reminding them that they are the eyes and ears of the Institute. They spend the most time with our students. They see our students over a 15-week period. They see them multiple times a week, or even if they're only seeing them once a week in class, they are the people that see the students the most. Deans and other staff members do not. Okay, and so they are the ones that can observe change over time. They can observe if a student stops coming to class. They are on the receiving end of a statement a student makes, something a student writes to them. They can see the student has changed their behavior in terms of, how they look. Do they look tired? Do they look depressed? Do they look disheveled? Okay, these are the things that I think faculty have to understand, that they are in such a powerful position in relation to students. And we say, if you're concerned about a student, then what we ask you do is that we ask you to make a referral to us so that we can follow up. Okay, the other thing I'll say to the faculty is that they always have a right to just reach out to a student, whether in person or over an email, and just ask a simple question. Are you okay? Okay, now a lot of our faculty are somewhat fearful of doing that, only because they don't know what the student might say, and the faculty member is always concerned that they're going to get overwhelmed because they wouldn't know how to respond. Okay, and so, again, what I reassure the faculty is to just listen to what the student says. And then what you can always respond back is, look, I really appreciate what you just shared with me. And I am not like the best person to assist right now, but I know people on the campus who can help you, right? And they can make the referral. They can walk a student over to the dean's office. They can walk a student over to the Center for Mental Health. They can call us. I mean, there's so many different ways that, we partner with them in helping. So the question is, how parents know about the progress of the student on a regular basis. Is there a platform you have access to? No, you do not. Okay, the only way that you know academically how your student is performing is by what they're telling you. Okay, and I know that's a major shift from how things were in high school versus how they are now. They have rights and we have laws that prevent us from telling you. So we cannot give you access to grades and stuff, but it is important for you to kind of check in with them. As I said, progress report grades will be happening, and you should just say, hey, I know progress reports came out this week. How'd you do? All right. Oh, I think I did okay. All right. How many S's did you have? Did you have any U's? Right? Get a little bit more specific. See what they say. If they say, I haven't checked my progress report grades, I would strongly recommend that you advise them to go in, log in, and see the grades. Okay? And then have a conversation with them. Right? But unfortunately, the only way you're going to know is by what they tell you. And I know that can be hard because, it's a very different experience when they come off to college. So does anybody else have any other questions? You can type them in.
John, there is one person who has their hand raised.
Yes.
CK.
Yep. So if you want to give access to ask a question.
CK, if you want to put your question in the chat. They might be having a hard time with it.
Okay. All right. So we'll wait if CJ, wants to type it in, but let me just see. So what is the schedule for progress report grades? How will parents know? So progress report grades, I already submitted mine. They are due by Monday the 2nd. So all first 1,000, 2,000 level courses have to submit progress report grades. Okay. The registrar, we go into a data system, we submit the grades. They track those. Okay. They track who hasn't submitted, which faculty haven't submitted, how many grades have not been submitted. It's tracked very, very, very closely because the reason is that we really use progress report grades as a time to do an intervention. If there's a student who has multiple U's, 2 or 3 U's, the academic advisor can see that. And at that point, the academic advisor should be doing an intervention with that student to say, what's going on? How can we help you? Okay, and try to get the student on track, right? So we do use the progress report grades as a way of checking and seeing. It is not uncommon for students to have 1 U, right? So we don't get too overwhelmed with 1 because, as I said, sometimes the student only had 1 exam. And so my U might be based on 1 exam, okay? So, all right, let me see what other questions here. So next week is when the students will receive an email saying that they can log in and see their progress report grades. Okay? Are internships available for aerospace engineering first freshmen? Yes. Okay. And the best way to do that would be to work with our career center and look at the internship possibilities that are out there, and to work with the AE department on looking at internships. But yes, first year students can, at the end of the first year, find internships in aerospace. Right? There was just a major career fair on campus. Can you discuss what other career fairs might be occurring? There are career fairs happening all the time. Okay, so we have one major one that just occurred, but then there are different. ISYE just had one. Emmy might have one. So there are different majors that have major specific career fairs. Okay, all of the students in the major would be informed of the career fair, when it's happening, where it's happening, and how to register and be a part of it. So your students should always be looking out for information on career fairs, all right? And and tell them to be really looking for major specific, meaning their academic major, because there are many of those that happen throughout the year. The big event one, which we call major career fair, already occurred. So. All righty, so let me see. Can you please show the first slide? If you want to go back and just pull up that first slide, that would be great. Can your office help encourage the transportation office to expand the range of the Stingray night bus to include off-campus department? My daughter says it only goes to Tech Square, and she doesn't feel walking to her apartment from campus or Tech Square at night. We are working on that. I wanted to say that I recently was part of 2 meetings with the president and the vice president of student engagement and well-being. And this was one of the major issues that came up, and that is the transportation issue for students living off campus in apartments that are close to our property, but not in the main area of it. So I know they're working on that, but I will also bring this again to the attention of the appropriate people. So, yep, the recording. So there are 2 reports semester-wise, one in October, one in December. I'm not sure what that is. There are 2 times that students would receive grades, if this is what this is referring to. The first is progress report grades for 1,000 and 2,000 level classes. If they're in a 3,000 level, they will not get a progress report. The second time that students will see a kind of listing of all their grades is at the end of the semester after finals. When the semester ends, the faculty have a period of time to grade and finals and then submit their grades. And then within 24 hours to 48 hours, the students have access to those grades and they can go on and log on. At that time, they will see each course that they were enrolled in. They'll see the grade that they earned. They will see the GPA that they earned for the semester, and they will see the academic status that they're on. Okay, what does that mean? Let me explain. So if you earn a 4.0 and you were minimally in 12 credits, meaning full-time, you will have faculty honors. If you earn minimally a 3.0 and you were full-time, minimum 12 credits, you will earn Dean's List. If you earn a GPA that was above the minimum for your class year, and for first-year students, it's 1.7, but it's 1.7 to 2.99, you will be in good standing. If you earn a GPA that's less than the minimum for your class, below 1.7, you will be on warning or probation, okay, depending on how low that GPA is. So that's what they will see on their transcript. They will see the courses, they will see the grades, and they will see the academic status that they have. If it's their second semester, what they will see is 2 GPAs. They will see their semester GPA. I could have earned a 3.8 for the semester, and my cumulative GPA might be a 3.5. Okay, so they will see both their semester GPA, and below that, they will see their cumulative GPA for the number of semesters that they've been at Georgia Tech. So let me see other. So can the plus sessions have some options, because currently it's from 9 to 10? Can maybe that person tell me what sessions you're talking about? What course? So you're talking chemistry, physics? Because some of them are offered during the day, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to. There would be helpful. What should seniors be doing at this time around applying for jobs and working with the Career Center? Yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, students should be starting now in terms of working with the Career Center. They should have, you know, officially registered for Career Buzz, which is the official database in the Career Center. They should meet with one of the career counselors. They should have their resume critiqued and reviewed by one of those career counselors and specialists. Okay, they should be mindful of the resources that exist over in the Career Center, the job listings that are coming in, how they can do searches for jobs, both locally, across the country, internationally. There's a whole wealth of resources that students have access to, but it would start with making the connection to the Career Center and having your resume, having your cover letter critiqued. And yes, it's never too early to start this. In fact, there are some seniors that will be graduating that already have a job offer in hand, okay, based on some of the work that they did even last year or last summer. So sounds like progress reports aren't letter. Yeah, that is true. Progress reports are not letter grades. As I said, it's either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. It's a first read on how the student is performing. Okay. Request you please share different grades and what they mean. Well, I mean, the grades typically, we don't have a plus minus system here at Georgia Tech. Years ago, students voted not to have a plus minus system here. They weren't in support of it. So we have an A, B, C, D, F. Okay, that's our grading system. Okay, now I can't tell you, like high school, that an A translates from 90 to 100 and B translates from, 80 to 89. That's not how it works at Georgia Tech. Okay, it really works on how this class performs, what's the mean, the cumulative mean for the class, and then what's the cutoff in terms of students earning A's, students earning B's. It's not so much that there's a percentage of students that can only earn it, it's just what's the cutoff. So that's a major change. So in my class this semester, what I have are students who, got the first test back in chemistry or physics or linear algebra, and they got a 62. Now, in their mind, coming from high school, 62 translates to potentially F, right? Or the D, mostly F. Okay. But that's not true here. You see, because when they tell me that, the first question I ask them is, what was the mean for the test? And if they say the mean was 64, you're slightly below it. If they say the mean was 60, you're above it. If they say the mean was 80 and you got 62, all right, then you're kind of in trouble at that point. Okay, so really, they have to look at these grades in relation to the mean for the exam, and then begin to see where they're falling in relation to that mean. Okay, now if they get really confused and they're not sure, they should go to their TA and they should go to their professor, and they should say, I really can't figure out what my grade is at this. If you had to assign me a grade today based on the class performance, what would it be? And the faculty member could probably say, okay, based on this, you'd probably be in the B range or the C range or the A range. Right? So some students just need that reassurance because they can't just think in terms of these means and stuff. So you can always ask your professor or your TA, to help you out there. Right? Do FYSA students also get progress report? Everyone does. Okay, we follow. Even though they're abroad, we follow the same, everyone's grades is submitted, and yes, they will also receive that. Okay. When do students apply for graduate school? For fall, they're applying now. Okay, they need to check the deadlines. Check the deadlines here at the Institute. If they're interested in a master's degree here, check the deadline for the program if it's at another university. Now is the time to do it, okay? And again, that's why I'm saying that one of the changes from high school to here is that students are always asked to be in two different worlds. The world that they're in now, in terms of the courses that they're taking, and then always planning for the future, okay? So if they're interested in study abroad, let's say for this summer after their first year or any year, now is the time to be thinking about that because there are deadlines for the applications. Okay, now is the time to go to that fair and learn about the programs. So you have to be able to navigate both. Okay, what am I obligated to and what am I, responsibilities for the semester I'm in? And then what do I need and want to do so that I can accomplish the things I want to accomplish in the future? Okay. Can you change process of career fair, have staff place them to appropriate workplace for internships? Career fair was, okay. That's out of my jurisdiction. I'm not sure about that. I think the where that plays out more, I would say, in terms of the model that you're thinking of is with co-op. Our co-op program does that more than our internship program. Co-op really looks at trying to place a student with a company. And so there's more kind of involvement with the student and the company than there is on the internship side. Is there a time limit for professors to enter grades for tests that they have to wait and see? Well, there is no official time limit. However, they're supposed to get timely responses back to know, okay? If that's not happening, they should speak to their professor. They should bring that to someone's attention that it's not happening. A student should not go into their second exam not knowing how they performed on their first exam, okay? That's not fair. And so if that's occurring, then we would need to know that so that we can remind the faculty member that students are supposed to be getting timely feedback on performance. Okay? Lots of employers at the recent career fair indicated they don't entertain first-year students for internships. Yes, and I think what happens there is the fact that the student just started here. So they're not looking at the student at the end of the first year, they're looking at the student at the beginning of the first year. So many times they do say that, you know, it's too early, it's too soon. Okay, students again have said that in my class that they went, but they really weren't interested in talking to them. You know, but here's what I'm going to say. Just having the exposure of having gone to the career fair, of understanding what it's like, of understanding the culture and climate within the fair and how best to navigate it is worth a lot. Because when you really do need to use it, you will already have been exposed to it and it won't be your first time. So we do encourage them to do it, even if it doesn't translate at that point into an internship. Okay. Okay, so tickets for the event. So that is an Ashley situation that, you know, she can figure out in terms of, you know, things selling out and stuff. All right,
You could send me an email to parents@gatech.edu. I'll be able to get you some more details on that information.
Where can we find GPA and list areas where students are placed? I'm not, honestly, I don't know what that question means. Yeah, sorry. Chemistry for plus sessions. All right, I'll look into that and see if there are other opportunities besides late at night, 9 to 10 for chemistry. I'll check into that one and speak to the chemistry department there. How does a student get recognition on the dean's list? By joining the requirements, but her name's not on the published list. There is no published list, okay? Let me just clarify, there's no published list. What it is just on your transcript. Okay, so we don't publish a list of everybody that's made dean's list. Okay, it's on their transcript that they earned dean's list. Okay, there's just too many students here at Tech to be publishing the list. We don't do that. Do you recommend using previously recorded classes as study aids in Lydia? Yes, very much so. Very much so. Okay. I think if that helps a student, then certainly they should do it, okay? Can the student become, I don't know if that meant TA during their first year? It is rare that a first-year student becomes a TA. Usually as they move in rising second years when they can apply and become TAs. However, having said that, if your student is really interested, then they should go to the department. Let's say it's math. They should go to the math department and they should say, would you ever consider hiring a second semester first year student to be a TA? And see what they say. If they're in need of TAs, they may hire the student, provided that the student excelled in the course that they want to TA in. How often do students meet with an academic advisor? Probably not as often as we would all like them to. So what I would say is that, it really depends on the major, it depends on the college, it depends on the number of students who are in that major and stuff. But your students should always reach out if they need an appointment with their advisor and say, can I have an appointment? Okay, and that appointment might be virtual as opposed to in person, excuse me, but they still would be able to meet, right? So just, don't worry about how many appointments, worry more about if they need it, and then they should request it. Okay, let me just read this. Yeah, this is a wonderful kind of statement in terms of, how much do you allow your students to just figure it out versus how much involvement you have, okay? So, as I say at orientation, as parents, and I am a parent, our instinct is to always want to step in and help. That's what we do as parents and stuff. But really what we want to do is to encourage them that they can figure this out, okay? And give them the space and time to figure it out without problem solving it for them. Now, if it goes on and they're not able to, then I think I would intervene a little bit more. But I would give the space and time first to allow them to figure it out. Okay. And a student comes in to see me, many times I am not really giving them the answer. What I'm helping them think through is like, how do you think you can figure this out? How do you think you can problem solve this? Where can you go for I'm doing the very things that I want you to do with your students to get them to see that they're capable, okay? Now, many times when we're stressed and we're anxious or whatever, we lose sight of the fact that we are capable and we can do this. And we just begin to think that we're not able to do it. And we don't want to reinforce that, okay? Because they are very smart and very capable. And given a little bit of time to think about something, they can do it. So when studying abroad, do students just take one class during that time? No. Okay, study abroad usually is a full class load. Okay. If your student is studying abroad and you're from out of state, many times they pay in-state tuition. Okay, so they should check with the program that they're interested in and see what the tuition is for both in and out of state students. What additional resources are available for students that need academic help other than meeting with their professors, teacher assistants, their tutoring? Yes. Just remember the Center for Academic Success. Okay, that's the place we can get academic coaching. That's the place we can get tutoring. Okay, that's the place we can go have an exploratory advising session. Yes, there is. Okay, we have centers on campus, the Center for Mental Health Care. We have the Center for Academic Success. These are centers with dedicated staff who can meet with students and assist them. So, yes. Right, they'll let you know how you can access. Can we do co-op in the first year? Most students do co-op after the first year. Their first co-op experience could be summer, okay? And then it's a rotation of you're doing co-op for a semester, you're back at school, you go co-op, okay? And it's 3 co-op rotations, but most of them do co-op after the first year. Okay. Again, in terms of helping students interviewing, if you go to the Career Center, you can have a mock interview. There are staff over there that can do a mock interview with you. and help prepare for the interview that you're going to. Yes. So if the student, excuse me, the student isn't granted an internship the summer after their first year, what do you suggest they do during that time to build their resume? They can take classes, okay? They can have a job. They can do a meaningful kind of volunteer experience, okay? There are a number of things that they can do. So if they don't have an internship, that's fine. But there are a number of things that they can do. And, that would be on their resumes. Okay, so I'm going to answer this, and then I think I'm going to have to wrap up. So it says, my son is a first-year student, and he was sick 1 week and missed some classes. I just wonder, what is the best way for him to catch up? The student missed a test due to sickness. Does he have a chance to make it up? All right, so anytime a student is ill, they should notify the dean's office that they've been ill. We hope that they have some documentation if they went over to the health center, if they went to a private clinic or whatever, if they went home to their physician, that they can offer some documentation. My office sends notification to faculty saying that the student is out due to illness, okay? And we also ask the faculty at that point to allow the student to make up the work, make up the homework, make up the exams, the quizzes. And so anytime a student is out of class for any reason, like illness, a family emergency, something like that, they should notify my office, the dean's office, and then we will assist. The other thing I always say to the students is you should also notify your faculty. Okay, you should say, I'm sorry, I'm out of class this week because I'm ill. Okay, so you should notify them, and then my office also notifies them. And this will be the final one, okay? Well, I'll do two more. If the academic advisor for students major, the best person to speak about when to do study abroad. That's a first step in terms of figuring out how to make all of the requirements of the major work. So yes, that would be a good one. Followed by someone in international education that can assist them in the logistics of study abroad. If the student takes summer classes in order to catch up, do employers frown upon this? No, they don't. Okay, they don't. So the student just says, that I was just wanting to complete some courses and stuff, then they will not frown upon that. So, all righty, we're at 1 o'clock. I want to thank you. I think we got through quite a bit here today. And I hope I've answered some of your questions. I hope I gave you some guidance on some specific issues and stuff. And just if you're extremely concerned about your student for whatever reason, just email me and let me know that. And I'm happy to reach out to you and to your student. But it's been a great semester so far, and I look forward to working with all of you and talking to you again. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. You all have a great afternoon, and this recording will be up by the close of business today. And thank you so much, Dean Stein, for your time today in answering these questions. Everyone have a great day.